Hi students, welcome to another session. So far we are dealing with the basis of human behavior, unit 3, and now we will see another new topic in this session, that is related to culture. So this session will give you the introduction to concept of culture. In the earlier sessions we have seen the differences, how this culture or the social context have an impact on human behavior, and let us see the concept of culture. So, as discussed in the earlier session, that you have read human behavior, we take, you read about the human behavior can be understood only by viewing it in socio-cultural context, which occurs, which it occurs. So earlier we have discussed the biological factors, systems, neurological systems, and then earlier we have seen the differences in uh, the culture. There is some preferences in social activities of human beings. So apart from biological, we also need to consider the society, the culture, the group where the human being is involved. Human behavior is fundamentally social. It involves relationship with other people, reactions to their behavior, and engagement with innumerable products made available to us by our predecessors. Predecessors or previous generations, generations, previous generations. Okay, and here we, if you can recall the unit 1, the basics of psychology, what is psychology, we have seen multiple applications of psychology, right? In that application we have all these things, how behavior is considered. So we are discussing about not only biological, that is internal. Here we have many other factors which can influence the human behavior, that are people around us and how we are reacting. All these things has happened through generations and will happen, but how they are transferred, that is cultural transformation, the cultural transformation from one generation to other. So as said in the earlier session, that they have, every human has a choice, they change their preferences and then the next generation changes. So that's how a change occurs in culture also. If you see the 19th century, 20th century's culture and today's 21st century culture is different, right? You can see the digital change which we have, which that have occurred. But like in the before 19th century, there is there is a mechanical age where machines ruled, machines that are mechanization of technology. Uh, Before that, there is agricultural based. All the work has been done by humans themselves. So technology is improving, and in that way, the cultural changes, the behavioral patterns are also changing. Although many other species are also social like us, human beings are cultural as well. Means all other species, means animals, have reactions, have interactions, but human beings, for example, say a group of foxes, a group of lions, a group of buffaloes, a group of dogs, a group of cats, all these share similar culture. Their behavior is similar. But, but for human beings, based on the region they live, in the colder regions, hotter climate, spring like a rainy season. The cultures differ. Their dressing style, the way they behave, the way they communicate differ, and even language has a factor in communication. These cultures have a wide variety of that is innumerable. There are uncountable products which influence the behavior of human beings. So let us see more in the next coming slides. You may ask, what does it mean to be cultural? In order to answer this question, we will need to hear. We will, I think, we will we will need to understand the meaning of culture. In simplest term, culture refers to the man-made part of environment. So, what is the culture? It refers to man-made part of environment. It comprises diverse products of the behavior of people, including ourselves. These products can material objects, for example, tools, sculptures, categories, names, ideas, objects, material objects, ideas, and social institutions like family, school. We have temples, uh, how you spend your leisure time, like parks. Uh, there are many places, right? So based on those things, we decide. So, for example, say you can clearly observe the differences between India and countries around like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Myanmar, Burma, China, Japan. These cultures have many differences between human beings. But how they differ, based on the factors, how they spend time, how they give values. Based on schools, the schools in India are different from other countries, right? Temples, and you can say tools, particularly agricultural tools. In India it is we are very much dependent on human base, but in other countries machines were used. We find them almost everywhere. They influence behavior, although we may not always be aware of it. But still, yes, they are these are common categories in every country, but still there are differences and they have influence. For example, see, in India, or particularly in southern part of India, we eat food with hand, with our fingers, bare fingers. But most probably we see in the uh, foreign countries, they use different tools, right? So these are the major differences which make in the behavior, and that is what the culture. It is, they are the way of living, the way of living, how the man uses different tools. Yeah, these categories, what are the environment involved in. So next. So let us take some examples. As discussed, we have discussed a few examples. The room you might be in now is a cultural product. It is the result of someone architectural ideas, the building skills. Your room may be rectangular, but there are many places where the rooms are not rectangular. Those of Eskimos. So, for example, see, yeah, that is what the cultural transformation. The cultural transformation. If you see the buildings in the 19th, 17th centuries, they are thatched houses. Like the houses will seem like these things. They have tiles. They have thatched houses like palm leaves, the coconut tree leaves. Uh, Mostly the structure is made of mud, but later on they improved to buildings, the rectangular structures, the building like structures. There is a slab, cement is being used, white lime, and yes, and even the design now. The design now is has been changed, right? You have air conditioned homes, furniture. There are different trends in furniture you are using. So these are the differences which you can observe. While reading this chapter, you might be sitting on a chair that some people designed and built some time ago. Since sitting in a chair requires a particular posture, this invention is shaping your behavior. So, the way the knives or the other ways which we the differences like the chairs, the sofas, the furniture, all the tools have evolved, right? The way they are being comfortable for the lives being. And if you observe the lightning systems, we have been connecting with the Internet of Things. Now we are able to connect, control devices with the phones. The digital culture has emerged. So these are all the cultural differences which are shaping, and even it will develop again the driverless cars, the automated systems, uh, the devices which we are using, the vehicles will be have transformed from uh, the chemical based fuel based to now the fuel has changed from fossil fuels to electric fuel. So all these things will change with time. And there are societies without chairs. Just try to think how people in those societies would be sitting in order to do some reading. Yes, still, if you can see, there are some untouched islands, that Amazon forest, South African culture, and South American culture, and tribal people in tribal areas. Still, if you can see the internal parts of these tribal areas, you still wonder how they live. Yes, this makes the cultural difference. This gives us the opportunity to see the differences. So let us see. Students sit on chairs in classrooms, but chairs are not found in all schools. In schools, in most villages, there are no chairs for students. In the earlier time, they used to sit on the rugs or the mats, and now they still follow the culture in many like tribal areas, which I said. They sit on the ground or a piece of sack spread over it. That in some sort of societies, children gather in rooms facing a teacher is another kind of cultural product called schooling. The schooling has come up. The schooling culture has earlier there is no such culture. Now it has come down. Earlier it was like it is completely residing. The residual schoolings were there, but time has changed. Time has changed, and the schooling has developed. This institution may have material aspects such as buildings, ideational aspect such as the notion that schooling should take place at a specific place and time. Yes, specific place and this is what the change in schooling has come. Or the idea that individuals attend school must be evaluated and given certificates on successful completion of schooling, even giving certificates. These has emerged a lot. And now these days again online schooling has come. The certificate, there will be the ceremonies, annual celebrations and ceremonies for uh, these certificate distribution. But if you see the web based one, you will be getting a certificate then and there itself. This institution also provides with behavioral expectation for all those who participate in it. Yes, for a subject or for a school, there are set of regulations that students are subjective to follow. Those both teachers and students have a series of roles to play, responsibilities to share. Yes, students have to come to the schools, attend. They have to do homework, they have to do activities, and for teachers, they will be preparing They will be preparing for the next day class, how they can use examples, how they can discuss subject to students. All these things will be happening at a teacher and a student level. Students for your homework activities. So these will be uh, the culture of teacher and the culture of students. So if you can observe, these are the group of, it is a group, and in the coming sessions we will understand what really the culture is. Okay. So individuals, families and communities have different views about schooling. Yes. Some people believe that school education is valuable thing. They have unshaken faith that school education can make people powerful and change their destiny. Yes, education has a great role in framing society and its development. Education teaches you values, education teaches you a culture, education teaches you how to behave. Others consider it neither valuable nor do they have faith in strength as such. Yes, some people may not believe schooling, like they start working, there will be many uneducated people. Some sort of societies emphasize on equal education for boys and girls. Yes, some societies have, others do not. Some societies encourage only boys. There is a discrimination, or boys will be doing the work, they lead families, etc. These are uh, in Western culture there is the equality, but still everywhere the society has developed in a biased way. In treating one gender they will be discriminating another gender. There are multiple differences, yet has to there are differences in the process of schooling. Others, some tribal groups party little or not at all. Like in the tribal area the education is underdeveloped. People with special needs often remain deprived of school education for a number of reasons. People with like disability population, or people with special, uh, uh, you can say people with different ability, they behave differently, they will use uh, according to their availability of human organs. People's views about communities, gender, caste, groups, and those with special needs and their educability also differ widely across societies. Yes, based on the communities, based on the gender, based on the caste groups, based on the religions, all these things, and based on the special needs. Here, the special needs can be social also, not only physical, there can be social. There are communities which help in giving special benefits for some community, like in tribal groups, scheduled groups, etc. As you look around, you will find that much of our life as human beings involves interacting with various cultural products and behaving in accord to them. Yes. And then this means that culture shapes our behavior in significant manner. However, it may also be noted at this point that the just as culture shapes us, we also shape our culture. Yes. As said, every human has a choice, has a freedom. Like the way he adopts the earlier culture from the precedents, he make choices according to his abilities and goals, and this shapes the behavior, this shapes our culture, this shapes our future. Several anthropologists have pointed out mutual influences of culture psyche on each other, that is self. They suggest the relationship between individuals and their social surroundings is interactive, where the person is living. If a person from India uh, repatriates to UK, he will adopt the culture, that culture. Okay, so that changes culture to the next generation. This perspective emphasizes that human beings are not passive recipients of cultural forces. Instead, they themselves create the context in which behavior is shaped. So, there are factors, say, you have several things which changes the behavior. So, the place, the tools, the ideas, the choices which we make has completely has an influence on the behavior. This is how a human being is shaped. So, so there is a point to think here. So just think of this. Talk to students belong to different states. For example, we are in Andhra Pradesh, right? You can talk to Tamil Nadu, you can talk to Karnataka. As we are dealing with NCERT syllabus, you have connections. You may also contact Maharashtra, Odisha students. Now nowadays, as social networking, you may connect students to social networking. You may have choice to connect with other schools. So just think of what are the food. Even you just having an internet search, public domain search, and interacting with others peoples, like reading books, will give you what is the culture there, what is the dressing sense, what are their customs, what are their way of living, festivals, like say we have a Pongal there, we have Onam, we have like Diwali, we have Dashara, these festivals, and how Indian, like the religious festivals we celebrate, like how Christians, how Muslims, and there are Jains, there are multiple religions available, how these make cultural differences. Just try to have and prepare list of differences, how people have differences and similarities. Just try to finish this activity, have a list of differences, how you can differentiate, and that's part of making culture. So I think that's ends of the session. Yes. So so this is the concept of culture. It gives you understanding just above what is culture. So we will see this culture in detail in the next session. Hope you got a good understanding about the concept of culture, how culture shapes the human behavior, and let us meet in the next session. Thank you so much. Have a great day.